Good morning. This is Joanne from Colorado. I wanted to show you kind of what I put in my flower pots for hummingbirds. I haven't placed them around the yard because it was still looking like it might get down to 35 degrees on Tuesday, but I'm going to put them out there today anyway. This pot has some zinnias, some of the sunset hyssop. This is some of the agastache, which will all have tubular flowers, and of course my little vermillionaire firecracker plants. And this one, salvias, my little vermillionaire. This pot had agastache and a lot of salvias in it last year. This is one of the annual tall purple salvias. This is an agastache plant. There is the sunset hyssop in the center. There's a bunch that grew over here, and a bunch that grew over there, and a bunch that grew over here. And I'm going to, if I can, seems like wherever there was an old plant, stems from another plant from last year, that a bunch of those seeds kind of attached themselves and came up there. I'm going to try to dig up a chunk of that and put it somewhere else and leave the most of the plant in the center so that I can put in a few different variety. I need some purple in there. This will be purple, this agastache, I believe. And the sunset will be bright, kind of pinkish orange. This is one of my pots that I had pin stemming in. And hyssop, I believe this is a hyssop. It's got purple blooms about to open. I put in one of my vermillionaire. I had some bee balm in there. And this is one of my salvia plants. I'm just not sure which kind. If it's red, it might possibly be my hotlips, which is why I brought it in the greenhouse, so that hopefully I would find more of those plants. This is catmint, and I of course put some bees balm in there. And this pot is about as broken and brittle as they come, but the plants are thriving, so I'm going to set it over next to my bird bath in the corner and call it good until this year's over, and then I might toss it. All of this little stuff, I had gotten some seeds from a rare place for red baby's breath, and I just dropped them in there last year to see how they do. They all came up this year and they're starting to bloom, but they're blooming pink. This has a lot of catmint in it. It's supposed to be my hibiscus, and I don't know how it's going to do this year. I'm not seeing new life on it yet. It should have some. If it doesn't have any new life in the hibiscus, it's either going to get another one potted there and that pulled out, or I might just dump that whole deal. I think I had some kind of bugs that were messing with my plants anyway. This is my bees balm pot, and it mostly has bees balm, and it is beautiful and bright red and tons of flowers. But I put a few zinnias in there. Those are supposed to be California giants or fair winners, and they are supposed to be 5-inch bright, vibrant flowers. My poor little lavender. I don't know if you can see it there, Got just a couple little shoots coming up out of it. If I can get the cat mint out of it that has kind of planted itself everywhere, we'll do good. This is my $9 salvia, and it's the little hotlips that I bought seeds for $9. Only one of the seeds came up, but it's a vivid red, and that stem is darker than any stems I've ever had on that kind of plant. I sure hope I can get some starts off of that, because the seed deal isn't really the way to go. Next to that, I have some vermillionaire, of course, and one of these salvia, vivid red. And this one I bought at the nursery because I wanted to check my plants and see what they were supposed to look like. And if I can get on the other side of these pots, my husband told me I shouldn't put them so close together, but I like lots of hummingbirds. Anyways, I noticed that, let's see if I can see it close in the light. The red, where it comes out at each connection, and the red stems that go out to the leaves. That is how I looked through all of the ones that I had, the salvias, and found the red plants. And this one here is easy to tell it's going to be purple, and it should be the same kind of flowers, which the hummingbirds love those. This poor little climber put it out here, and then it did drop down into the low 30s, and it was so tied up around itself because of being in the greenhouse shelf for so long. It had kind of gone up and wrapped down around itself and tied itself up in knots on both ways. And I left my honeysuckle vine here just in case it takes off. The two can grow together. We'll see. I have dianthus in the bottom of that just for the fun of it. Something that wouldn't block the sunlight, but, and a few pansies. This is my zinnia pot, and these poor guys have been blown and blown and blown with 40-mile-an-hour winds, and it's amazing I still have plants. Kind of beat them up. The leaves look kind of awful for the moment, but they're coming out good again, and they'll just be stronger. I did plant 3 more of the fair ones, zinnias, in this pot because a lot of these seem to be lighter. And I try hard, but you know, when you don't know what color they're going to be and you just pick plants and put them in a pot together. I tried to pick vibrant ones, and then I tried to pick some of the striped ones. So now we should have a lot of both. And as soon as the wind behaves, we'll have plants that all look beautiful again. Cut off the beat up part. This is another hotlips plant, and vermillionaire. I have a couple purple, and it looks like there's still a few purple salvias coming up. And I had thought, from one of these, I was pretty sure that some of those were going to be that fuchsia, rockin' fuchsia too, but we will see. If I just have a ton of purple here, it won't be bad. This will be vivid red. This is another, I try to get salvias, the hotlips, purple, pink, fuchsia, red. So this way I'll have orange and red and purple and bright red and whatever color the other ones end up. I have salvias all the way around that. This one is my canna lily that it's kind of yellows and oranges, but it's a smaller flower than the other ones. And the hummingbirds really like that when that blooms. They come to it every morning. That's why it's always right here in front of my chair. This is another kind of salvia that I planted, and it looks a lot like pineapple sage or salvia, but these came up, tons of them, a few years ago, and I thought that they were the big ones, big flowers, and they weren't. So I kind of did away with some of the seeds. Actually, the hummingbirds didn't come to them at first when they saw the others, but then they started coming to them all the time. So, and another hotlips plant, another purple salvia. That one looks like it's going to be a purple. And of course, a vermillionaire. That one, not quite as big on the on the top, but same deal here. The vermillionaires, the salvias, reds, purples. This one has the colors. This has the colors of a red one from my pots from last year, and that one does too. I don't know if it'll be a rockin' fuchsia or if it will be the right color, but that one is a purple. And then another one of the hotlips, which is about to bloom. This one, I would guess it's going to be purple. Not really sure. It's kind of got the pink on the stems too, and lighter in the stem. That might be the rockin' fuchsia. We're going to find out. But anyways, this one has 3 salvias and my canna lily in the center, and another one of those. This pot, I'm not sure if those are petunias coming up from last year. They're a different, real smooth leaf, but they're coming up in the middle of my salvias that are purple. And I can grab a few more of these plants and put them somewhere else if it keeps coming up. There's another petunia that came up in that pot from last year. My vermillionaire. And it's got purple where it divides, but light stems. That may be a fuchsia. Whatever petunias I planted in there, they must have liked it, because they have come back in this pot and none of the others. It's kind of nice when I have a big, beautiful petunia that can make flowers all to the ground, because the hummingbirds do like them. They are tubular, and well, it's better than looking at a pot. These are more salvias. That canna lily's going to be about 7 feet tall, and the flowers will be a couple feet tall, and it will look very bright. Got another petunia that came up voluntary, and this should be a rockin' fuchsia. The stems are green and it has pink right by the sides. So, in this climber, you can see how the weather kind of has treated it bad here. I don't know if little bugs have bothered it too. I think that's mostly just light frost. The wind was so cold. Over here was just an old planter box that came with the shed, and like I said, we rent. So I planted a whole row of my calibrochea along there, and then my tall purple salvias behind them, and I'm gonna put some other tall plants in there. I've just got to find the right colors, and those should hang down and trail and cover up a lot of this. I put a feeder right here on this little hook. Whoops. Oh, this ground is so uneven. It has a million worms in it. Night crawlers. If you're a fisherman, you could, I'm sure, get 1,000 in a square foot. Anyways, I put a feeder right there, and so having a bunch of flowers right there is great. I put some pots right here, which I'll show you when I get them planted out. I have this bird bath that my son and I designed that I haven't plugged in yet, but it's 3 tiers, and it looks really cool when it's running. I had a board that I could set under here. It's a little uneven, but anyways, gives more than one bird a chance to take a bath. And all this mess that I have for my work I'm doing and dividing plants and whatever. One of my little cucumbers that I planted up is now 3 feet tall. The cucumbers on there. It was in the greenhouse like that. My tomato plant. I've got a couple more tomato plants that are 3 feet tall in here. These guys need planted in the garden. But the wind has been so ridiculous. We've had 40-mile-an-hour gusts, 50-mile-an-hour gusts, 20, 30-mile-an-hour a day. Thankfully, my greenhouse is still here. I had a bunch of 3 or 4 of those little planter cell things for 52 flowers each, and I just planted the last of them into pots of their own, because whatever plants I don't plant this week, I plan on selling at a sale this weekend. And these are spoken for by some friends and old neighbors. You'll miss my flower gardens. These salvia will be a very bright spot in several places. I want to get my hollyhock in the ground. There's some doubles. I don't think hummingbirds care for hollyhock, but it's those doubles look so bright, and we have a couple spots in this yard that they just need something that can stand on its own. These are some of the last of my plants that were in those little cells, and I thought I only had one fuchsia that came up. Turns out sorry, my allergies are waking up because of the weather we've had. Anyways, I ended up with 4 of these, and then somewhere here in my greenhouse, I had taken out the only fuchsia that was gone before and supposedly set it where I would be able to find it. So this is going in one of my pots where I know that I need some purple. And those are carnations. I just did a few of those because I love carnations. If you know what this plant is, could you please put it in my comments? Tell me, because these seeds were in the calibrochea, mixed exotic seeds. And I keep expecting it to bloom, and it's got all of these little things that look like should be buds of some kind, but I'm not sure if it's a weed that's going to go to seed or if it's a plant that's going to bloom everywhere. I sure hope it's a plant that's going to bloom. I hate growing seeds that are weeds. This is what happens to a calibrochea plant that is put in a pot where it has room to grow, room to spread out sideways in light. I did trim all of these back so that they could go sideways instead of up. This one here I cut down to here when I did my other sale, and the plant is now 8 inches wide, has all kinds of growth on it and flowers that are looking good. This one here, I didn't trim it back quite as far, but it grew up tall. The bottom has a lot of growth. I could actually just cut it off down here and it would be really full down there. But it's about time to sell it, and all of these are blooms, so I'm gonna let it be. These are some of the last of my plants that were in those little 52 cells with no space, and they are enjoying having a little space to grow. We'll see how much they grow in a in a week. This is Sunday. I have my sale on Saturday. Hopefully these will keep spreading out and getting lots of buds, because I trimmed all of those back. So, and I've got a couple more that are big bee balm. I still don't know where my other fuchsias that I took out, but when I find out, they're going to be in a pot in the shade in my front, on my front patio, hanging up by the window where I can photograph the hummingbirds coming to it. So I only have a couple of my sunflowers left that were bright yellow. The rest I put in the ground. And to keep this from being an hour's long, I am going to shut this off for now. Say thanks for watching, and I'm going to be putting more plants in the ground. I think that the weather report is once again coming up a little bit, I hope. And I'm going to take care of those spaces and the ones by my bird bath. Mow my jungle. Boy, this lawn. We had True Green come by and spray it because I didn't want to have to take the time to fertilize it, and it definitely needs mowed. My hanging baskets are liking the environment. These are calibrochea. These are lantana. My hummingbirds, they just, you know, hummingbirds just like bright things, and when the center's bright on a pink flower, what's not to like? Here's my other one, my red pot, and these are going to be, whoops, vibrant red. And of course, it took me years to realize, well, a couple years to realize that the bicopia is as much a favorite flower of the hummingbirds as the calibrochea. And the lantana, they love. This flower, poor little, I believe it's a petunia, not a calibrochea, but thing of it is it doesn't really like the frosty wind. So, and they probably got more of it, so I feel for them. I got some darker red lantana. And mostly red with yellow centers, or something bright. And of course the bicopia, that'll hang way down, and the hummingbirds just love stopping here. So there they are, and you have a great day. I'll show you the rest when I get it all set up, hopefully this afternoon. Bye bye.